Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and today we will be studying chapter 1, text 91 onwards from the Madhya Leela. Just a moment. So we'll be studying chapter 1, text 91 onwards regarding the synopsis of Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So we'll say our Mangalachan prayers and we will continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I will continue from where we left off. I think it has been quite some time since we did a Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So 1.91 Madhya Leela. Prathama Sutra Prabhur Sannyasa Karan Sannyasa Kare Chalila Prabhu Shri Vrindavan. This is the first synopsis. After accepting the sannyas order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded toward Vrindavan. So before this, we read about the pastimes until marriage, but this is after sannyas. Until he took sannyas, we read it before, and now we're continuing after accepting sannyas what he did. This whole chapter and the next chapter, the second chapter of Madhya Leela, are both synopsis of the Madhya Leela and Antya Leela respectively. So purport. Clearly, these statements are a real account of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's acceptance of the renounced order of life. His acceptance of this renounced order is not at all comparable to the acceptance of sannyas by Mayavadis. After accepting sannyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to reach Vrindavan. He was unlike the Mayavadi sannyasis who desired to merge into the existence of the Absolute. For a Vaishnava, acceptance of sannyas means getting relief from all material activities and completely devoting oneself to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.255. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjatah nirbandhah krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyamuchyate. For a Vaishnava, the renounced order means completely giving up attachment for material things and engaging non-stop in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Mayavadi sannyasis, however, do not know how to engage everything in the service of the Lord. Because they have no devotional training, they think material objects to be untouchable. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The Mayavadis think that the world is false, but the Vaishnava sannyasis do not think like this. Vaishnavas say, why should the world be false? It is reality and it is meant for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a Vaishnava sannyasi, renunciation means not accepting anything for personal sense enjoyment. Devotional service means engaging everything for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Yukta Vairagya principle, and we can see from the personal example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He took sannyas, and immediately after that he went to Vrindavan. So, of course, he was playing the part of a devotee, and he is teaching us how to serve Krishna. In Vrindavan, Krishna is served. So, wherever Krishna is served, that place becomes Vrindavan because of the attitude of service. Bhavagrahi Janardana. So, sannyas means to give up. And this is actually, give up means what? Give up sense gratification and take up devotional service with all one's heart. So, when we sannyasa means sat nyasa, means for the sake of the sat or the truth, the absolute truth, everything else has to be given up. But not that we give up the sat also. If we give up sat, then we are in asat. Asat sangatyaga, ei Vaishnavachar. So, Vaishnava means he should detach from asat. That is sannyas. So, we are nyasa or giving up everything else for the sake of sat, the absolute truth. Om Tat Sat. So, here 6.1 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So what does it mean? So lighting fire means actually grihasthas, they have to do a sacrifice by lighting fire every single day. It is called a Panchasuna Yajna. So it is a yajna to offer prayaschitta or to undergo prayaschitta or atonement for 5 kinds of unintentional killing that happens in one's life on a daily basis. Like when we walk, we may step on ants. When we cook, we may kill some nearby insects or some worms or germs. So in this way, we are committing violence without our knowledge, and we will have to pay for it. In human life, that's the responsibility. So Panchasuna Yajna is there, which is to atone for this unintentional sinful activities, killing especially, and even otherwise, Grihastha Ashram is full of so many yajnas, sacrifices, charity, and all these things. So when one takes to sannyas life, one gives up these fruitive ritualistic activities, and he does not perform the duty of in the material sense, because he gives it up for spiritual duties. But some people think sannyas means to just do nothing. That is not. So not that he who lights no fire, means he who does not do the Panchasuna Yajna and the daily rituals, and who does not do these societal duties, just by stopping them, it is not sannyas. Sannyas means who works as he is obligated, who is unattached to the fruits of anashrita karma phalam. But karyam karma karoti yaha. Karyam means karya means work, but actually it is prescribed work. So what karyam means duty. Duty means who gives you duty. You don't give yourself duty. Duty comes when it is ordered by a higher authority. So such prescribed duty and especially when it is referring to the duties given by Krishna. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranetam. So the orders of Krishna are our duty to carry out those orders. So if we work as we are obligated to do so according to our position in society, even if we did not accept the dress of a sannyasi, we will be working on the principle of sannyas, which is to perform duty, religious duty, accorded to us by the scriptures, and sadhu shastra guru. Shastra is scripture, sadhu is the sages, the devotees, predecessor acharyas who have left us so much instructions, and also the bona fide disciples of our own guru, our own spiritual master. So they are all sadhus. So what they recommend, what the guru recommends, because guru contextualizes those instructions for us. Like, for example, Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu advised or ordered all devotees to first offer their worship to Lord Ganesh in order to remove the obstacles in one's devotional service to Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada did not introduce that principle for us because according to the time, place and circumstance, we are not capable of carrying out that instruction without getting contaminated by materialistic ideas of demigod worship, especially among Indians, and it will bleed over to the Western countries as well. So, knowing this, he introduced Narsimhadev worship instead, because anyway, Ganesh is getting his power from Narsimhadev. So, likewise, the Guru contextualizes the instructions of the predecessor Acharya, sadhus, and gives us instructions according to time, place, and circumstances. Now, there is some argument about this. Some people say, oh, Prabhupada left instructions for the civilization as it was in the 1970s. Now we are in 2024. We are in the 21st century. We have to contextualize Prabhupada's teachings to today. Nonsense. So Srila Prabhupada gave these instructions for at least the next 10,000 years. And as long as this movement lasts, we have to stick by Prabhupada's instructions and it will work. There's nothing that has changed so drastically that we have to change anything. And even if it does, we have to stick to the spiritual master. Like, for example, 16 rounds is another contextualizing of the principle of chanting. Actually, 64 rounds is the real standard minimum every day, but we have been given 16 because we are not capable. But we cannot contextualize it so-called and make it 4. So we are not supposed to do this. The Acharya will do this. The pure devotee Acharya sent by Krishna, he will do this, and we just have to follow. Okay? So anyway, if we do that, then we are in the renounced order of life. So that is the principle of sannyas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the sannyas ashram, although he took it from the Mayavadi community, Keshav Bharati, but he did not follow their rules. He, after that, promulgated this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, going back, so Yukta Vairagya principle is we have to give up materialistic activities, but we should fill that void. Giving up materialistic activities is for the reason to accept spiritual activities. That is the reason why we are advised to give up our materialistic activities. But not everything we give up. Krishna also we give up. No. Devotional service also we give up. No. For devotional service, we give up everything. That's the whole meaning. So let's go to the next verse. Premete vihvala bahya nahika smaran radha deshe tina dina karila brahman. When proceeding toward Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed with ecstatic love for Krishna and he lost all remembrance of this external world. In this way, he traveled continuously for 3 days in Radhadesh, the country where the Ganges river or the Ganga river does not flow. Radhadesh is to be pronounced as Radha. not Radha. It's not Radha Desh. Radha Desh. Okay? The country where the Ganga does not flow. नित्यानंद प्रभु महाप्रभु भुलाया गंगा तीरे लया आयला जमुना बोलिया. First of all, Lord Nityananda bewildered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by bringing him along the banks of the Ganga, saying that it was the river Yamuna. Now, the more detail of this pastime will be covered later on, so I'm not going to go much into the details here. It's just a synopsis. So, while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, he showed the Ganga because it was in Nadia only. He was in Nadia, but he was told that he was in Vrindavan and this is Yamuna. Actually, it was just Ganga. So that is the pastime. Later we will read about it. This is just like a synopsis. शांतिपुरे आचार्येर गृहे आगमन प्रथम भिक्षा कैलो ताहा रात्रे संकीर्तन. After 3 days, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of Advaita Acharya at Shantipur and accepted alms there. This was his first acceptance of alms after sannyas. At night, he performed congregational chanting there. Purport. It appears that in his transcendental ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgot to eat for 3 continuous days. He was then misled by Nityananda Prabhu, who said that the river Ganga was the Yamuna. Because the Lord was in the ecstasy of going to Vrindavan, he was engladdened to see the Yamuna. Although in actuality the river was the Ganga. In this way, the Lord was brought to the house of Advaita Prabhu at Shantipur after 3 days. And he accepted food there. As long as the Lord remained there, he saw his mother Sachi Devi and every night executed congregational chanting with all the devotees. So he forgot to eat for 3 days. So that is renunciation, where one forgets about the bodily necessities by being so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that one does not even know what is going on with the body. But this stage is not to be imitated. We will get sick and we will die. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Mahabhava, which is not possible for anyone other than Srimati Radharani and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only these two personalities can imbue and exhibit Mahabhava symptoms. Bhava, many devotees exhibit. Pure devotees we're talking about, we're not talking about cheap imitators, sahajiyas. So only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srimati Radharani, they have Mahabhava. They are the recipient or reservoirs of Mahabhava. But Goswamis, you can see Nidra Hara Vihara Kadi Vijitav. So they have also given up, they have conquered the demands of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and even to the point of almost nil, Vijitav. And Arjuna is also called Gudakesha, the one who has conquered sleep. So sleep in 2 ways, sleep of the material sleep, because the pure devotee never really sleeps. When he goes to so-called sleep, it's actually he's in ecstasy, meditating on Krishna's pastimes. And also, they can work extremely long hours in Krishna's service without getting tired. Like Raghunath Das Goswami, for example, he was taking 1 palmful of buttermilk every 2 to 3 days, once. That's all. How can one survive? If you analytically, biologically, medically analyze that, not enough nutrition and this and that. But they survived. What to speak of Raghunath Das Goswami? Somebody who is not devotionally inclined, completely opposing devotional service, Hiranyakashipu. When he was doing his tapasya to please Lord Brahma, he was standing like this on the tips of his toes with his hands raised for 100 years of the 100 years of the demigods or something like this. 100 years. Which 100 years? I don't know exactly. I have to see the text again. But that long he was standing and his body was all eaten up by worms and everything, and only the skeleton was remaining. But he did not die. His life air was being circulated within the bones, it is said. So there are even, such demoniac people in their tapasya, they achieve such extraordinary feats. What to speak of a devotee not eating for 2 or 3 days? Now, for us, that's a very wonderful thing not to eat in for 2 or 3 days. But even materialistic people sometimes can do such things. But they are not counted as big tapasyas because tapo divyam, any tapasya has to be performed for transcendental reasons, which is Krishna consciousness. Anything other than Krishna consciousness is not really transcendental. Impersonalism is on the borderline of transcendentalism, but it's not yet there because there is every chance of relapse. Patantyatha. So he saw his mother as long as he remained in Shantapur. And in sannyas ashram, you may ask how come he's seeing his mother is not supposed to be with his family. Actually, there is no restriction on seeing one's parents or one's children, but not one's wife. One's wife, there is restriction. You cannot see your wife. And there was one incident where Tamal Krishna Goswami was grihastha and then he took sannyas, and he wanted to come to the temple, but he knew that his ex-wife, now he was taken sannyas and separated from her, she would also come to meet Prabhupada there because she's still a devotee. She was still a devotee. I don't know her name. I need to revise. But anyway, she was also going to come, and he was also going to come to see Prabhupada. So he wrote to Prabhupada and said, how does that work? Because I'm not supposed to see her, but I'm coming to see you, and she's coming to see you, and then how is that? And he said, on neutral grounds in a temple, it's okay, but not to have any conversations or anything like that. So that's the other thing. So because sometimes you may not be able to, completely avoid it in circumstances like that. So anyway, so the rule is he should not see his wife. That's the general rule of sannyas. Okay, so moving on, 95. माता भक्त गणेर ताहा करिलो मिलन सर्व समाधान करे कइलो नीलाद्रिगमन सर्व समाधान करे कइलो नीलाद्रिगमन. So at the house of Advaita Prabhu, he met his mother as well as all the devotees from Mayapur. He adjusted everything and then went to Jagannath Puri. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew very well that his acceptance of sannyas was a thunderbolt for his mother. He therefore called for his mother and the devotees from Mayapur, and by the arrangement of Sri Advaita Acharya, he met them for the last time after his acceptance of sannyas. His mother was overwhelmed with grief when she saw that he was clean shaven. And recently, one of our boys here, Brahmachari, he took saffron cloth, and then the mother messages us saying that please send my son back home. So they want their son to be having nice hairstyle and marry and have a family. And when they take to Krishna consciousness, the mothers are not happy. But even though, of course, Sachidevi's relationship is different with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She is motherly love, like she is incarnation of Yashoda Maya. So Yashoda also, when Krishna went to Mathura, she was in all kinds of turmoil, transcendental turmoil, in separation from Krishna. So that kind of feeling. So it is different, but it looks like material grief, material separation, like an ordinary mother, because it's a spiritual. Material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So whatever is there in the spiritual world, whatever feelings there are spiritually with Krishna, they are there in the material world. So she is feeling spiritual feelings, but it also serves as a lesson for us. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu consoled her and then left like that. And what is the consolation? He said that, okay, I will not go very far away from you. I'll be in Jagannath Puri and you will hear news about me from the devotees. So in that way, she was pacified. So another thing we learn from this is, if we try to convince our family members that, I'm going to take this path, most family members won't agree. There may be some who may agree, but most won't agree. So in that circumstance, what should be done? So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can see that he did not take permission from his mother to take sannyas, or asked her opinion whether he should take sannyas. No. He took sannyas and then showed his mother that he took sannyas. Although she was shocked, he did not consider her feelings to be more important than the duty of taking sannyas ashram. So this is something we have to learn as well. So many nuances we can learn from the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and these things we have to notice. We have to take the decision based on Guru Sadhu Shastra, not Mata Pita. Many people say Mata Pita Guru Daivam, and therefore we should consult our mother first. Mother is the first god, they say, Hindus. When they don't understand actually what it really means. What it really means is, in one's life, when one is born, one's first shelter is one's mother, because we drink the breast milk from the mother, and she is the one who nurtures us, even from the womb itself. So she is the first shelter. Not even born, before even being born. From the time of conception, she has been sheltering us. And we have to understand one thing, that she is an agent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's always Krishna sheltering us when he employs certain living entity to be the shelter of someone. That's why it's under the care of such and such person, but uh, ultimately under the shelter of Krishna. And everybody else is an agent only. So Mata or mother is the first shelter. Then when he becomes like 5 years old, then he must be trained by the father, disciplined, you know, bring him up, in a stricter way. And then he has to be handed over to the Guru. And then Guru will take him to God, Daivam. So Mata, Pita, Guru, Daivam. This is the progression of one's shelter, how one is, guided towards Krishna. This is how it is. It's not that the mother does not train train the son in anything, or child. She does train in Krishna consciousness, but when, until 5 years old. After that also there is some, of course, there is still, but the father takes precedence in the instructing, and sometimes the father can be more, sometimes hard in that way. Then the Guru, then Krishna. So this is the meaning actually. But people misunderstand. Oh, before I hear or listen to God, I should listen to Guru. Before Guru, Pita. Before Pita, Mata. So I must get blessings of Mata, Pita before I can accept Guru. If the Mata, Pita, or father and mother are actually sensible and they agree to the point that yes, he has to go to the Guru, that's fine. But if the Mata Pita are going to be against that, he should not still consider their feelings to be more important. He has to do what is right and go forward with it. And then later on explain to them. It will always, let me tell you this, it will always look like an insurmountable hurdle before you do that. Always. But once you do, yes, there will be some, disturbance, but you have to do it, and then eventually they will accept. They will accept. So this is how it should be done. Forget about sannyas, initiation, even wearing a dhoti. They get scared about every of these steps. Oh, my son is going to leave. First of all, it's never yours. And it's not leaving, and it's just, serving Krishna. And if the mother and father can cooperate, they can also come and serve Krishna, and they can see their son in the temple. But they don't want. They want to see their son at home only. The point is not whether they want to see the son or not. They want to see the son at home as they want him to behave. They don't want to see the son leading his life in Krishna consciousness. That's not what they want. They want the son to live according to their terms in the house like that. Even if the son goes far away, like Canada or UK or Australia or Germany or whatever it is, Japan. Oh, my son is working in the US, America. They're very proud to say all these things. But when the son is in the same city, in the temple, oh, my son has left me, he is no more with me. Huh? Arre? He's nearer to you than the US. Why is this person gone? You can always come and say, you don't want to come to the temple. Who's to be blamed? So, and even if somebody has gone some other country and serving there, so what? If he serves in a company, then good, yes. But if he's serving in the temple, that's bad. It's a mindset problem, especially Indians. I mean, they lost this thing. Not only Indians, I mean, this is there since the beginning of creation. Brahma was angry when his sons did not marry. Daksha was angry when his sons were made into sannyasis by Narada Muni. This is a universal problem, literally. The whole universe there is this problem. So the antidote to this is that we have to understand the value of life, and then we will be more at ease. It will be a little bit hurting in the beginning, but we'll get used to it, and then we will move on to the next stage. So he met them for the last time after his acceptance of sannyas. His mother was overwhelmed with grief when she saw that he was clean shaven. There was no longer any beautiful hair on his head. Mother Sachi was pacified by all the devotees, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked her to cook for him because he was very hungry, not having taken anything for 3 days. His mother immediately agreed, and forgetting everything else, she cooked for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during all the days she was at the house of Sri Advaita Prabhu. Then after a few days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested his mother's permission to go to Jagannath Puri. At his mother's request, he made Jagannath Puri his headquarters after his acceptance of sannyas. Thus everything was adjusted, and with his mother's permission, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded toward Jagannath Puri. So you can see later on this pastime will be explained more. And although Sachimata was quite hurt, was pained to see him as sannyasi, she still said that ma means mother. If a ma does not allow his son to take sannyas, then she's not ma, she's maya. So she's illusion. So she understood, although it is she was hurt, but she understood that this is what is to be done. That is more important than feelings. Duty is more important than feelings. Even in Ramayana, Lord Ram was not happy banishing Mother Sita when she was pregnant, but as a matter of duty he did it to set an example so that future people don't suffer drastic consequences because of his actions. Although there was no fault of Mother Sita. पथे नाना लीला रस देव दर्शन माधव पुरी कथा Gopala स्थापन. On the way toward Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many other pastimes. He visited various temples and heard the story about Madhavendra Puri and the installation of Gopal. So this will be explained in the 4th chapter, I think, the life of Madhavendra Puri. Purport: this Madhav Puri is Madhavendra Puri. Another Madhav Puri is Madhvacharya, who was Madhavacharya, not Madhvacharya, Madhavacharya, who was the spiritual master of a devotee in the line of Gadadhar Pandit, and who wrote a book known as Sri Mangal Bhashya. Madhavacharya, however, is different from Madhavendra Puri, who is mentioned in this verse. क्षीरचुरी कथा साक्षी गोपाल विवरण नित्यानंद कोइलो प्रभुर दंड भंजन. From Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the story of Kshirchuri Gopinath and the witness Gopal, Sakshi Gopal. Then Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas rod belonging to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this whole pastime will be explain later on what it is all about. Purport: this Kshirachuri Gopinath is situated in Remuna, about 5 miles away from the Baleshwar or Balasore station on the northeastern railway, formerly known as the Bengal Mayapur Railway. So this is interesting because our ISKM temple is in Balasore and the real name of this town is Baleshwar. Baleshwar, and is 5 miles away from Remuna. Actually, we went to Kshirachura Gopinath Mandir also. Balasore railway station is there, Northeastern Railway. Unfortunately, I think last year or 2 years ago, there was a big accident, train accident there. And a lot of people died, um, many injured in a head-on collision. So it was a horrible accident there. But it was formerly known as the Bengal Mayapur Railway. This station is situated a few miles from the famous Kharagpur Junction station. So this Kharagpur, there is IIT there, IIT Kharagpur. And because of IIT, this Kharagpur is famous, Indian Institute of Technology. But there is a Shudra Institute, Institute for Shudras. However, one may think, oh, it is very difficult to get into IIT, it's top notch, it's cream of the cream. Technology, Prabhupada said, is only a servant of the narratives that are spread. Whatever the government wants, whatever the policies of governments, they are drafted by the people who are in the arts department, and the technology department serves the purpose of the arts department, culture and everything. So it is an enabler. So that is a Shudra role. Shudra is an enabler. He's not the think tank. The think tank is something else. So Mayapur, which was the seat of spiritual, it's the headquarters of our movement, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took birth there, and from there everything started, the Sankirtan movement in Kali Yuga. So that is not well known, but Kharagpur is very well known. It's not a very big city, like other, but it is very well known because now it is IIT, known for IIT. So the point is, even if it's a small town, it doesn't matter, it becomes more prominent if people understand the value of it. People understand, because of the propaganda, technology they think is the most important thing in life, and therefore such places got prominence. But if they understand the spiritual importance of life, then spiritual places will become more prominent and remembered in the society. For example, now the financial centers of different countries, they are known. The economic hubs of the world are well known because money is the main thought of many people. So what predominates in the mind, according to that, we create what is important. We create narratives on what is important. Forbes 30, Forbes 100, Forbes. What is this list? Successful people or top successful. What is their success? Or they made money. They built companies, they did this and that. So because money and sense gratification is the prime point of focus for many people, therefore places where money is worshipped or money is in abundance, or such places become more prominent in the psyche of people. It's not that geographically they're actually important. No, they're not so important as the spiritual places like Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri. These are the most important places. I'll give another aspect. Vedic civilization, the cities were built with the temples being the tallest structures in the whole city. Why? Of course, the Lord is to be given more importance, and there's a practical reason also, because from any part of the city, you see the dome of the temple there, you remember the Lord. Oh, that is Jagannath temple, that is Krishna temple, like that. You're supposed to remember the Lord. And just by seeing the shikhara of the temple, the dome, the flag, the emblem like the chakra or anything, we immediately are reminded of the Lord. So it is to make us Krishna conscious, even however far we are from the temple. So it serves a practical purpose to remind people of Krishna. Now today, take for example, what are the most tallest buildings in the world? Financial centers, some business building, some hotel or something like this, which has all kinds of residential business, all kinds of where sense gratification is prominent. So by that, by what buildings are becoming more prominent, what cities are becoming more prominent, we can gauge the psyche of the people and the narratives that are being spread and promulgated in the society. That's why I said in the other lecture, I think a couple of weeks back or something, when people are interested in Shishnodar Parayana, the Jihvar Lalase Jaiti Utidhai, Shishnodar Parayan Krishna Nahi Pai, that verse is there. See, it has another connotation, you see, another insight we can draw from it. You see, this is Antulila 6.227. Oh, this is Madhya, Antya. Jihvar Lalase Jai Iti Utidhai, Shishnodar Parayan Krishna Nahi Pai. One who is subservient to the tongue and who thus goes here and there devoted to the genitals and the belly cannot attain Krishna. So sense gratification comes in the straight line, the mouth, the belly, and the genitals. So to satisfy these three, we do everything in this world. We want to satisfy our tongue, we want to satisfy our belly. To find food, we will work, and people are going here and there, all over the world to work, to fill their bellies, to fill the bellies of their family members, and to satisfy the genitals. So this is, genitals means then family life, then that's the basis of economic development. Family life. So Shishnodar Parayana, the tongue and especially the belly and the genitals. It's not said here Jihva Parayana, because Jihva can be used in anything. Shishna Udara can be used in sense gratification only, whether it's regulated or not. So it is only for the satisfaction of the body. So Shishnodara Parayana is, if you see the body, head, arms, belly, and the legs. So if we are only, interested in the belly, genitals, that area of the body, then if we extrapolate that to the societal body, we are also interested in the same part of the body. It's interesting because in the society, the Brahmanas are the head, Kshatriyas are the arms, Vaishyas are the belly, and the Shudras are the legs. If you see our present society, it is focused on belly and the legs, Vaishyas, Shudras. Kshatriyas, well, actually they are Mlechas, they're not real Kshatriyas. They have some administrative capacity, but not the valor, the religiosity of the leaders of Kshatriyas that they don't have. Some aspects they have, but actually they're Mlechas, they're not even supposed to be there. They are now the heads of state in many, many countries. And they don't give importance to spiritual life. And therefore, Brahmanas are the most neglected. There's no Brahmanical community. The Brahmanas are not qualified nowadays. Very few Brahmanical qualified Brahmanas are there. And they are not given any importance at all. Kshatriya principle is not given importance. The administration is only of how to administer sense gratification. That's the administration that's going on. Real Kshatriya administration means to ensure that the population does not fall down into sinful life. That is the real protection. And materially, of course, that's another aspect of protection. That everyone is employed and everyone is safe in the country. That is Kshatriya business, yes. But one cannot be safe just by materially enacting some laws. One can only be safe if everyone is cleansed from the heart. There has to be laws, yes. There have to be laws to deter any outlaw or a criminal. But that should not be relied upon as the guard, as the protector against downfall. For example, when you're walking on a staircase, there is a railing, right? There's a railing to protect you from falling down. But you cannot depend that there's a railing there, so I will never fall down. You jump over the railing, you will fall down. So you are expected to walk properly on the staircase, and you know if you may fall down, okay, there is a guardrail so that you can still be on track. Similarly, we have to be on track. We have to know how to conduct ourselves. We should not cross the boundary. So there have to be laws to deter any rascals, but that should not be depended upon. The whole society, there has to be a culture in which the cleansing of the heart happens on a mass scale. That is real protection that a kshatriya should be doing. And and in the absence of that, now, what we see today is they administer the state, but only in the region of sense gratification, in the domain of sense gratification. They don't care about the spiritual advancement of the people at all. They say that is your personal thing, you do whatever you want, but you obey our thing and how we are administrating sense gratification. So, sense gratification is the belly and the legs, and between that there's the genitals. So that area, if I'm interested in that area of my body, I will be interested in that area of the society. So by just looking at the society where they're interested in, we can get a pulse of where the people are in their focus in life. So if they're spiritually involved, then they don't place too much importance. Their buildings won't be higher than the temples. Their financial centers won't be higher than the temples because they know what to respect. And in their own lives, simplicity is more coveted than extravagance. So you will see these things. And if we see previous civilization and Vedic civilization, we may say they are, not very advanced because they did not have these tall buildings. Well, they were advanced, way more advanced, to understand that these tall buildings mean nothing. We don't understand. We are enamored by these toys. These are just toys. We just think, we think that to place importance on these toys is very, great. It's just like a small kid. Oh, I have a bigger building than you. Like that kind of thing. It's just a very childish thing. But they think it is very important. It is a status symbol. If our country has a big statue or a big building which is taller than everybody else's, and they think this is status. This is just like a child. Child thinks he's a bigger status because he built a bigger sandcastle or something, like that, and he bullies other children. That's just childish. So what happens, what pans out in the international scene or the world scene is this childish nature with adult powers. So that becomes now dangerous. In childhood, that's a cute, or just laugh it off. But when you become adult and still you're like a retard, like a child mentality, that becomes now dangerous because children fight on meaningless things. But if adults fight on meaningless things, then that is dangerous because they will employ bigger ways to fight, nuclear weapons, and that interferes with the mission of human life. So we have to mature, we have to grow as adults, and that means we have to become spiritually advanced. So by the symbolisms of what exist, we can understand. Like for example, people don't read Bhagavad Gita, but they read newspapers. So because of such excessive newspaper production, we can understand that, and the subject of the newspaper, we can understand where the pulse of people is. So Shishnodar Parayan has this, this devoted to genitals and belly, has this other connotation of what in the society, what we are also in the societal body, we are also focusing on the Shishnodar Parayan, belly and the genitals, Vaishya Shudra, and the combination of both, entrepreneur, give them big names and big credit, but actually this is what it is. We are not saying they are not important parts of society. Yes, like eating is important, sex is important, and that's how, even when we say brahmachari, where do brahmacharis come from? From families, from grihastha families, right? So it is an important function of society, but if we do it without brain, then that is a problem. Therefore, Brahminical culture, what we should be actually focusing on, and then yes, use it as much as is necessary. We should not overeat. Today, the whole civilization is Shishnodar Parayana, overeating, Atyahara. Atyahara means what? Overeating and collecting more funds than necessary. That is because belly, the Vaishyas who generate the income. So if we accumulate more money for sense gratification, that is also termed as Atyahara, because in the society that is the belly portion. That is eating too much. We're going fat. So this is the societal obesity. And what we actually need, then we'll be suffering from diabetes and all. When you get diabetes, what happens? Every other part of the body is affected. It bleeds to every other part of the body. The problems, all kinds of problems we will have after diabetes. So that's exactly what will happen if we accumulate more funds in the society and become only focused on economic growth. Then that will bleed on to many other aspects of society. There will be cultural imbalance, religious imbalance, there will be unrest in every single aspect of people's lives. And this is a diseased state of society. Just like our body becomes diseased by initially having diabetes, and then it leads to heart problems, kidney problems, and liver problems, and all kinds of problems. And that will affect every single part of our body. Sometimes legs have to be cut off, amputated because of diabetes. Why? So similarly, there is war sometimes. Oh, part of the society is amputated, killed, murdered, wholesale slaughter. Because why? Atyahara. So we have to understand this, how big context of this. And therefore, our life is to minimize these things and become more Krishna conscious. And then those symbolisms will become more prominent in society. And it's not just a symbolism. Don't just get carried away by the symbolism. We have to be connected with the substance itself, and then automatically symbols will go on. But sometimes we give symbols too much importance. Like, for example, Ram Mandir in Ayodhya was rebuilt after 500 years of fighting, taken over by the invaders in the past, and mosque was built on top of it, and now the mandir is again built. Now they think it is as a big thing. Yes, it is a big thing, but it is nowhere close to real revival of the society. That's a symbolism, okay, having a temple. But what is the function of a temple? Shravanam, where people come and learn, Shravan Kirtan, where the Lord is glorified. The people come to hear about the Lord, the glories of the Lord and their own life. It's a spiritual university. That's the function of a temple. But if it doesn't serve that purpose, then it's just a symbol and it does not serve the purpose. So we don't want such empty shells of culture where inside is hollow. We want a culture full with life. And then we have to have our symbols also. But that's like we may decorate our body with tilak. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Kalichela. There's a group of so-called devotees who, yes, Matha Neda, Kapni Pada, Tilak Nake, Galai Mala, Dekhte Vaishnaver Mata, Asala Shakta Kajar Bela. Sahaja Bhajan Korchena Mamo, Sange Loy Porer Bala. What did he say? There are a class of devotees who look like devotees. External symbolism, yes. Nice shaven head and tilak on the forehead, kantimala, japamala, nice dress, everything. But inside character, they are interested in sense gratification and illicit sexual affairs. So substance is gone, just outside appearance. So we don't want this Kalichela dharma. We want dharma with the soul. The soul of dharma is the Shravan Kirtan process, especially in Kali Yuga. Shravan Kirtan, because if we don't understand, that is the head of the society. The mouth, the ears are there in the head of the society. So if the message of Krishna is broadcasted by the mouth of the society, which is the Brahmanas, and the ears of the society are hearing this message, then the rest of the body will get automatically regulated. People won't be inordinately invested and interested in economic development only at the cost of spiritual advancement. We are not against economic advancement, but not at the cost of spiritual advancement. So, from the word Kharagpur, I went on a whole tangent, but this is how unimportant become important according to what is the psyche of the people. So we have to make our things more important, like Vrindavan, Mayapur, and our books more important. Why some 4 hour work week or some weird books have to be important in this world? Huh? Why our Bhagavad Gita not important, Bhagavatam not important, Chaitanya Charitamrita not important? These should become the most important books in the world. They are actually the most important. Importance does not come from popular opinion. They come from its actual usability and its actual function and purpose. People may or may not recognize. That's another thing. But our duty is to make people recognize. That is called glorifying the Lord. Glorifying the Lord means increasing His glories. More people come to know about His glories. That's our business. Just like the technologists made Kharagpur famous just by associating with technology and IIT, some technology institution, and then which brings jobs. An unknown town is known now. But similarly, we have to make these things famous by teaching people, and we have to always devise ways and means how to teach people about this science, and slowly these will gain prominence. So coming back, some time ago the head of the temple was Shamsundar Adhikari from Gopi Vallabhapur, which lies on the border of the district of Midnapur. Shamsundar Adhikari was a descendant of Rasikananda Murari, the chief disciple of Shyamananda Goswami. A few miles before the Jagannath Puri station is a small station called Sakshi Gopal. Near this station is a village named Tattvavit, where the temple of Sakshi Gopal is situated. So those who have gone there, you would have seen. We went to Sakshi Gopal temple also and the Kshirchara Gopinath temple. They're still there. They're there since how many years? So hundreds and thousands of years. So these are the history. And why these railway stations are always mentioned here? Because again, I told this many times before, the geographical positions have to be mentioned for records, historical record, because cities change, countries change, borders change, cultures change, and accordingly, some structures may be destroyed. Like the Mughals, when they came into India, they destroyed many temples. And now, whatever knowledge we have of those temples that were existing before that is because of some records that were written by travelers or writers on those eras, and such books are the lens through which we can witness history. What happened back then. So we can reconstruct some of the historical aspects by such books. So when acharyas, especially Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially, you will see his bhashya, anubhashya, he always mentioned, okay, this place is this near this railway station and all that. And he chose landmarks which will hardly be changed very soon. Like railway station, for example, it may stay for many, many years, because it's more established infrastructure than, say, just a standalone building. Because the railway station, has the tracks and everything is connecting, so it's difficult to move such a big, thing, especially when the thing has to be having transport every single day. So it's a little more difficult. So in that way, it's a little more permanent. And also, even if another government takes over, they may still make use of such infrastructure of railways, whereas temples sometimes may get destroyed because of different cultures. If another religion people take over, then that may be destroyed, but railway station may not be destroyed. So they have thought through, so they have given us a more reliable source of geographical context to the historical sites. क्रुद्ध होया एक गेला जगन्नाथ देखिते, देखिया मूर्छित होया पड़िला भूमिते. After his sannyas rod was broken by Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu apparently became very angry and left his company to travel alone to Jagannath Puri. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the Jagannath temple and saw Lord Jagannath, he immediately lost his senses and fell down on the ground. Now, this angry, why he will be angry at Nityananda Prabhu and all that, this is again a pastime, which will be explained later on. सार्वभौमलया गेला आपन भवन तृतीय प्रहरे प्रभुर होइल चेतन. After Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Lord Jagannath in the temple and fell down unconscious, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his home. The Lord remained unconscious until the afternoon, when he finally regained his consciousness. Okay. Here in the translation, there is something that is lost. You know? Okay. Not exactly lost, but so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went in the morning to the Jagannath temple and he fainted. What is written here is Tritiya Prahare, in the afternoon. What does it mean? Why Tritiya Prahara? Tritiya means third. Prahara means a period of 3 hours. So the entire day is called Ashta Prahara. 24 hours is called 8 Praharas. And the first Prahara of the day starts from Brahma Muhurta. And then next Prahara. So 3 hours from Brahma Muhurta is the first Prahara. Then second Prahara. Then third Prahara. So by third Prahara, it's already afternoon, 1 o'clock almost, around, at the end of third Prahara. So that is the time when Tritiya Prahara, afternoon. So we can get, the thing that is lost in the translation is this aspect of this time. Of course, conveniently it is just translated as afternoon, but this is how time is measured in Vedic understanding. And Ashta Prahara means 24 hours. Tritiya Prahara means third Prahara of the day. So with that we can understand something else. Our modern understanding of a day starting at 12 o'clock midnight is not how time is considered in the Vedic calculations. So the day starts at Brahma Muhurta. Before that it is night. Then there is the forenoon, then there is afternoon, and then there is night. So in this way, even the 3 sandhyas, the sandhya means the joint of different parts of the day, are calculated as the joint between night and day, which is dawn, the joint between forenoon and afternoon, which is noon, and then the junction between day and night, which is dusk. Midnight is not even a junction in Vedic calculation. So it is not a very important point where the whole date changes. No. So Tritiya Prahara here means the sun's movement from the Brahma Muhurta, third set of 3 hours interval, 3 hours period, which is the afternoon. So that's how the afternoon came into that. Nityananda Jagadananda Damodar Mukunda Pache Asi Mili Sabe Pailo Ananda. The Lord had left Nityananda's company and had gone alone to the Jagannath temple, but later Nityananda, Jagadananda, Damodar and Mukunda came to see him, and after seeing him they were very pleased. तबे सार्वभौमे प्रभु प्रसाद करिल आपन ईश्वर मूर्ति तारे देखाइल. After this incident, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by showing him his original form as the Lord. Now, actually, there was a whole discussion, it's a whole story, it will be explained later on. It's very interesting, the discussion and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeats the Mayavad philosophy presented by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the impersonalist philosophy. And after that, he shows his Shadbhuj Roop, 6-armed form. 2 arms of Lord Ram, 2 arms of Krishna, 2 arms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, he benedicted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became a great devotee after that. Actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's name is Vasudeva Bhattacharya. The Sarvabhauma word is a title. Bhauma means related to Bhumi. Bhumi means the earth. Bhauma means of the earth. Sarvabhauma. Sarva means all. Sarva means one who has conquered all part of the earth. That means he is a master of the earth or the conqueror of everyone. So conqueror can be two ways. One is by military conflict, by military conquest. One can become a Sarvabhauma. One can also become a Sarvabhauma in the intellectual space of society. So if one can defeat every other argument and every other debate, and he has won over. So there used to be this intellectual competitions before, debating competitions, and they used to debate. And because he was so powerful in his debating skills and his erudition, his knowledge of the scriptures and everything, there was no match for him. In fact, he was so expansively scholarly that even the sannyasis would learn under him. Sannyasis would be his disciples when he was only a grihastha. That was his stature in society. So in that way, intellectually, he was a Sarvabhauma. So this Sarvabhauma is actually his title. And Vasudeva was his name, Vasudeva Bhattacharya. तबेट करेला प्रभु दक्षिण गमन कूर्म क्षेत्र कोयलो Vasudeva Vimochan. After bestowing mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Lord started for southern India. When he came to Kurma Kshetra, he delivered a person named Vasudeva. Okay. You see, Adi 10.113. Here it is mentioned. The original name of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was Vasudeva Bhattacharya. His place of birth is known as Vidyanagar, and about 2.5 miles away from Navadvip railway station. So he was in Bengali actually, or Champahati railway station. So his father also was in Maheshwar Visharad. Visharad means vastly learned. Again, that's a title. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the greatest logician of his time in India. So that is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he went to southern India after that. Lord started to go to South India. For 6 years he was traveling in South India. When he came to Kurma Kshetra, so you can actually trace his route. And he went through the eastern coast of India. And actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wanted to consecrate all those places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went with a, what is that? Pada Ankita, the footprints of the Lord. He wanted to install at 108 places of the where the Lord went. But I think he did not finish that. I don't know how many were done. I have to check again. So Kurumakshetra was one of the places. He delivered a person named Vasudeva. That Vasudeva was a leper, Brahmana. Then Jiyada Narsimhe Koilo Narsimhastavan Pathe Pathe Grame Grame Nama Pravartan. After visiting Kurmakshetra, the Lord visited the South Indian temple of Jiyada Narsimha and offered his prayers to Lord Narsimhadev. On his way, he introduced the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in every village. So you see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is another very important thing. Now, okay, I don't know, Jiyada Narsimha, is it Ahobilam or is it Simhachalam? I do not know very well. Maybe there is some context, I don't know, mentioned here. So Jiyada Narsimha, I need to learn where is this Jiyada Narsimha 18. But you see, the point here is, on his way, he introduced the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in every village. This is the most important activity that must be done. Without this preaching, just visiting temples, and the spiritualists may visit temple because of proper understanding, the devotees, and others may come to the temple with their own understandings. That should not be the case. They have to learn the knowledge, standard knowledge. Just like you cannot go to university just to see it like a museum and come back. You have to learn there. So if one is coming to the temple, then he has to learn. So that Shravan Kirtan has to be there. Just focusing on darshan is not our culture. Shravan Kirtan is at the core of the culture. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced. He introduced the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in every village he went. So this is necessary. That everywhere we go, we introduce. Wherever we go, he did not go on a tour. He did not just go and see and come back. He went and did preaching there. Yes, he went to the temple, but also he did preaching. You see, that too how it is mentioned here. Pathe pathe grame grame nama pravartan. Introduce the holy name of the Lord in every village on the way. Godavari tira vane vrindavana brahma Ramananda Raya saha tahaye milana. Once the Lord mistook the forest of the bank of the river Godavari to be Vrindavan. In that place, he happened to meet Ramananda Raya. So he was always in this ecstasy of being in Vrindavan, and he mistook the Ganga for Yamuna, and now Godavari for Yamuna, and the forest near Godavari to be Vrindavan. In this way, he was always in ecstasy. Everything was reminding him of Vrindavan. Trimalla Tripadi Sthana Koilo Darshan Sarvatra Korilo Krishna Nama Pracharan. Again, Trimalla. See, now it is known as Tirumala or Tirupati. Tirumala. Trimalla. Trimalla is the word used here. So this is a word that is 500 years old. This book was written, Chaitanya Charitamrita, 500 years ago. And that time the word here is used Trimalla. And now it is known as Tirumala. But Trimalla is the place. So Tripadi, now it is known as Tirupati. You see how the transformation of the word happened. So we should be in touch with what is originally called as much as possible, you see. So you can see some etymology of this place, name of this place. Trimalla Tripadi, Sthana Koilo Darshan, Sarvatra Korilo Krishna Nama Pracharan. So what name of the city is now, it is the present name. Here what is written is 500 years ago what the name was. So, and we can have context. Nama Pracharan, you see, he did not stop. He visited the place known as Tirumala and Tirupati, where he extensively preached the chanting of the Lord's holy name. You see, Tirupati and Tirumala, he preached again Krishna Nama. So this is wherever he went, Krishna Nama, Pracharan, Pravartan. So wherever we are, we should do that. And it's interesting because there is one group of Hare Krishna people who think that in South India we have to adopt the South Indian ways of doing things, like how the Sri Sampradaya does, their style of worship, their style of building, architecture, their style of rituals and pujas and festivals. There's one group of Hare Krishna who thinks that that is important. But you see, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activity, we can understand that he preached Krishna Nama Prachara. And you see, even in South India, he did not, he had debate with Venkata Bhatta, he had debate with the Tattvavadis, who are also Vaishnava, Madhvacharya's Sampradaya, which is our Sampradaya, but they focus more on Varnashram Dharma, and he wanted to take them even further, and therefore he debated with them. So you see here, what is this? Okay. You see Madhya 104. Vrindavane Krishna Seva Vaishnava Achar Bhakti Smriti Shastra Kore Koreho Prachar. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatana Goswami. And here he said to Sanatana Goswami, establish devotional service to Lord Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. You should also compile Bhakti scriptures and preach the Bhakti cult from Vrindavan. Now, if you see the purport, how Prabhupada writes here, Sanatana Goswami was enjoined Number one, to broadcast the revealed scriptures on devotional service and establish the conclusions of devotional service. Number one. Number two, to re-establish lost places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan and Radha Kund. This is number two. Number three, to establish the Vrindavan method of temple worship and install deities in temples. Sri Sanatan established Madan Mohan, and Rupa Goswami established Govindiji temple. So the point is to establish the Vrindavan method of temple worship. What is Vrindavan method? Our style, especially Gaudiya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Radha Krishna, this has to be our method of worship. Why we should adopt another Sampradaya style of worship? We have all respect for their style of worship when they do it. It is what they were taught by their acharyas. Yes, they do it like that. But we are representing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should represent Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the fullest in every aspect of his movement. And Srila Prabhupada gave us the aspect of how a temple should be, how our worship should be, what festivals we should celebrate, and the general style and worship and everything. So in Hyderabad there was a South India temple, and when Prabhupada was there, Hyderabad is South India, and Tirupati Balaji, he is very well known. Yet he installed Radha Madan Mohan deities in Hyderabad and Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. So our style, and let me tell you, in Vrindavan, there is a Ranganath temple constructed by the Sri Sampradaya Parampara. And if you go there, you will feel like you're in Sri Rangam. Exactly their temple structure. They changed nothing. They did not build a Vrindavan style temple in Vrindavan. They installed deity also, Ranganath temple, not Radha Krishna temple. And I absolutely admire that, because you have to promote your flavor of the Sampradaya. They are taught like that, okay, they have to represent their parampara fully. Why we have to make this compromise? So Vrindavan's method of worship, anywhere, we are not subscribers of Krishna West or Krishna South or Krishna East or Krishna North. Krishna means Krishna. And whatever our parampara gave us, we will do that. We should do that. So Vrindavan method of temple worship. And this same group, I saw one of their videos. They were consecrating a temple in Malaysia. And there also, Bhumi Puja they were doing for the temple. And at the most auspicious Muhurtam time, when the main ritual was being performed, the Kirtan stopped. Until then the Kirtan was going on. Kirtan stopped. And Nadaswaram was going on. And the dig, this like South Indian drum. Why? Harinam is not important. That sound is more important. Even in Ramanujacharya's parampara, Sankirtan is mentioned. Ramanujacharya went on to the top of the tower and shouted the Harinam, right? So he was also actually preaching to chant the name of Krishna. Somehow it's not so prominent in their sampradaya now, but that was the original instruction of Ramanujacharya. Now we have to stop Kirtan at the most auspicious moment and then do some all this now. Why? This is more important sound than Krishna's name. Why? So, we have to promote the Vrindavan method of temple worship. And you can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to South India, he preached Krishna Nam Sankirtan. And if you see when he spoke with scholars like Venkata Bhatt or Tattvavadis, he spoke philosophy and pushed them towards Krishna worship. Even though Venkata Bhatt was already worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, of course it's a joking conversation, but joke means not simply meaningless. The Lord's jokes are full of meaning. They will still have the most heaviest of philosophical points even in the joke. Not like meaningless jokes, no, full of meaning. Like you see Prabhupada, he also makes many jokes sometimes and people laugh, but it's all Krishna transcendental jokes, which are fully pregnant with philosophical meaning, Krishna conscious philosophy. So Venkata Bhatt and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had such a light-hearted conversation, but full of philosophical meaning. And in that also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pushing him why your Lakshmi could not enter the Ras Leela. That means Radharani is greater than Lakshmi. Despite all her efforts, Lakshmi could not go to Ras Leela, which is considered the topmost of Leelas. So if the topmost she is not allowed means there is something in her that is not allowing her. She is not on the level of the gopis who could easily freely dance with Krishna. She did so much tapasya to get there. Now one may argue, well, the gopis also did not go to Dwarka or Mathura because the queens were there. Yeah, that is because of their mood, and they did not do any tapasya to go to Dwarka. They wanted to go to Dwarka and engage in the palace there as a queen. No, they were not interested. Whereas Lakshmi Devi was interested to go to Ras Leela. That means there is something in Ras Leela which Lakshmi also does not have. The mood. So in that way, he established Radharani to be topmost, Radha Krishna worship to be topmost, even higher than Lakshmi Narayan worship. So in this way, he always promoted our flavor of the Sampradaya. And that's what we should also, that should be our mission also. Not like, adopting something else. Respecting them for what they are, and we should be what we are. Otherwise, it is like saying that our Sampradaya is not good enough and we should change, we're not probably representing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then. Why something has to be changed in our Sampradaya? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took all the important points from all four Sampradayas and incorporated into his Sampradaya, so all the good points of every Sampradaya is already there in our Sampradaya. Why we need to compromise anything is my question. So, एमत स्वरूप गण आरती न शक्ति सभार आश्रय कृष्ण कृष्णे सभार स्थिति. Oh, what am I reading? That's what I'm thinking. What is this? Very philosophical words. This is. We'll go back to our. Okay, here. Here's the pastimes that are going on. Okay, so he visited the place known as Trimalla and Tripadi, which is now known as Tirumala and Tirupati, where he extensively preached the chanting of the Lord's holy name. Purport. This holy place is situated in the district of Tanjore or Chittoor district in South India. The temple of Tirupati is situated in the valley of the Venkatachal and contains the deity of Lord Ramachandra. And even Venkatachal, Venkateshwar, where did the name come from? The original name is Vaikuntheshwar. It became known as Apabhramsha, mispronunciation, and eventually that became more prominent because of local dialects of language. And from Vaikuntheshwar, it became Venkateshwar. The original name is Vaikuntheshwar. So Venkatachal, Achal means hill, like Neelachal, the blue hill. So Venkatachal is actually Vaikunthachal, but now it is known as Venkatachal. The temple of Tirupati is situated in the valley of Venkatachal and contains the deity of Lord Ramachandra. That's why Venkateshwar is also called Venkatachalapati. Venkatachalapati means Venkata Achala Pati, the Lord of the hill of Venkata. Venkatachalapati. So Venkatachal. So contains the deity of Lord Ramachandra. On top of Venkatachal is the famous temple of Balaji. So in the valley there is a Ramachandra deity. I did not see this until now. I did not take darshan of this deity of Lord Ramachandra because we only go to the Trimalla at the top, Balaji temple, but others we don't. We need to go. Now we have an ISKM branch there. Parameshwar Prabhu is, conducting the mission there now. तबेट पाषंडी गणे करेलो दलन अहोवल नरसिंहादि कोइलो darshan. After visiting the temple of Tirumala and Tirupati, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to subdue some atheists. He then visited the temple of Ahovala Narsimha. Ahovala is now known as Ahobilam. Here it is, the word here is used Ahovala. Ahobala. Actually, ahobala, um, abala means strength. Aho means oh. So it's like an exclamation. Ahobala, like what great strength. So Narasimhadev, he exhibited uncommon strength uh, in fighting with the Hiranyakashipu and the demons. So ahobala, in Bengali, va and ba is the same thing. So that's why here it is mentioned in English as ahovala, but actually ahobala. Ahobala means oh, what great strength. Purport: the Ahovala temple is situated in Dakshinatya, in the district of Kurnool district, within the subdivision of Sarbela. Sarbela, I don't know. Throughout the whole district, this very famous temple is much appreciated by the people. There are 8 other temples also. It's called Navanarsimha. Yeah, you see. And all of them together are called the Navanarsimha temples. There is much wonderful architecture and artistic engraving work in these temples. However, as stated in the local gazette, the Kurnool manual, the work is not complete. So, there's not much information mentioned about the subduing of the atheists. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if later on the expansion of these Madhya pastimes, whether this detail is expanded upon or not. But I don't exactly understand what the subduing of the atheists is meant. What is meant by that? Anyway, hopefully we will learn something later, or maybe there is some detail in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I don't know. श्रीरंग क्षेत्र आयला कावेरी तीर श्रीरंग देखिया प्रेमे होइला अस्थिरा. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the land of Sriranga Kshetra on the bank of the Kaveri, he visited the temple of Sri Ranganath and was there overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead. So Kaveri, now also the Kaveri is there. So we can relate to this. And all these places are also, we can go to those places because it's just 500 years since these places are mentioned here. So we can still relate with the geography of what is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But with Bhagavatam, especially with the other planets and all this, is very out of our league, out of our experience, because we are not in that era where we can actually freely travel to these places, or we have people who traveled to these places. We don't meet any such people now. Kali Yuga. So interplanetary travel has stopped pretty much, especially for us at least. The beings of the higher planets, they can, I think the demigods, they can, I think, still travel, but we can't see them, we can't travel to their places. Even if we look at their places, they look like barren lands. So we are somehow cut off with our experience. So we cannot relate to the geography or the places that are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, which is spoken from a very different viewpoint. But when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, it looks very much relatable to our current experience, because we can experience all these places because historically it's not very far apart. त्रिमल्ल भट्टेर घरे कइल प्रभु वास ताहाय रहिला प्रभु वर्षा चारि मास. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived at the house of Trimalla Bhatta for the 4 months of the rainy season, Chaturmasya. Chaturmasya is the vrata, Chaturmasya vrata, the vow of the 4 months. Of the 4 months is Chaturmasya, but Chaturmasa is the 4 months. Chaturmasya means of the 4 months. Chaturmasya vrata, the vrata means vow of the 4 months of the rainy season. श्री वैष्णव त्रिमल्ल भट्ट परम पंडित गोसाईर पांडित्य प्रेमे होइला विस्मित. Sri Trimalla Bhatta was both a member of the Sri Vaishnava community and a learned scholar. Therefore, when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was both a great scholar and a great devotee of the Lord, he was very much astonished. So, a scholarly devotee is always very attractive, because there are many who may take to devotional service, but they may not study the scriptures very well. But when Trimalla Bhatta, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be very exceptionally scholarly and also a great devotee. He was astonished because usually scholarship, Kunti Devi said this. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamanam Madah Puman. Naivar Hatyabhidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. So, when usually one has intelligence and one is so called scholarly, he will not become a devotee. He will be too puffed up with his intelligence and so called erudition, and he will be against the Lord. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached by, but only by those who are materially exhausted. For one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot address you with sincere feeling. On the contrary, though, a person like this, Janma Karma Vayorupa Vidyaishvarya Dhanadibhi Yadyasya na bhavet stambhas tatrayam madanugrahah. If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or a higher status of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty, a good education, and good wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this is very rare. Madhanugraha, one who is favored by the Lord, is not proud of these opulences. And one who is not proud, he can be actually devotee. If one is proud, then he is not a very high grade devotee, and eventually his offenses will stack up, and he may even leave the devotional service because of his pride. Therefore, one of the 6 aspects of surrender is humility. And humility means to accept Krishna as the supreme. I am always the servant of the servant of the servant. That is humility. So that is quite rare in this material world. Usually when they get education, they get intelligence, they become atheistic, they become averse to the Lord. And even these Mayavadis, they are very proud of their erudition and their capacity to quote shlokas and quote Vedas, and their expertise in logic and debating skills. So they take pride in these things, and they don't consider devotional service to be very important. But here was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a great scholar and a great devotee, and so he was astonished. Next verse also. Manastambha nimittanam janmadinam samantatah sarvashreyah pratipanam hanta muhyennamat parah. Although aristocratic birth and other such opulences are impediments to advancement in devotional service, because they are causes of false prestige and pride, these opulences never disturb a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So a pure devotee is the one who is not disturbed by this. So Trimalla Bhatta could understand that this is not an ordinary person. And that's why he was astonished. चातुर्मास्यताः प्रभु श्री वैष्णवेर सने गोआइल नृत्य गीत कृष्ण संकीर्तने. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed the Chaturmasya months with the Sri Vaishnavas, singing, chanting the holy name and dancing. So apparently they were also participating in the kirtan at the time, Sri Vaishnavas. चातुर्मास्य अन्ते पुनः दक्षिणगमन परमानंदपुरी सह ताहाय मिलन. And this Trimalla Bhatta is Venkata Bhatta, if I'm not wrong, because he actually stayed with Venkata Bhatta. So I think his other name is Trimalla Bhatta. At the end of Chaturmasya, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued traveling throughout South India. At that time, he met Paramananda Puri. तबे भट्ट थारी होते कृष्णदासेर उद्धार राम जपि विप्रमुखे कृष्ण नाम प्रचार. This is another example. One devotee was Rama Bhakta, but he preached to him about Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did this on a couple of occasions. After this, Krishnadas, the servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was delivered from the clutches of a Bhattathari. What is Bhattathari? I do not know. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then preached that Lord Krishna's name should also be chanted by Brahmanas who were accustomed to chanting Lord Ram's name. You see how he's introducing Krishna's name. This is Vrindavan style of worship. You know, elevate them wherever one is. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then preached that Lord Krishna's name should also be chanted by Brahmanas who are accustomed to chanting Lord Ram's name. Even now in South India, many people write Sri Ram, Ram Koti. They put a notebook and then they write Ram name. It's well and good, but you must open your mouth and chant. And the full mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The full mantra must be chanted. Purport. In the Malabar district, oh, this is Kerala now, a section of the Brahmanas are known as Nambudiri Brahmanas, Nambudiri. And the Bhattatharis are their priests. Okay. Bhattatharis know many tantric black arts, such as the art of killing a person, of bringing him under submission, and of destroying or devastating him. They are very expert in these black arts, and one such Bhattathari bewildered the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while the servant accompanied the Lord in his travels through South India. Somehow or other, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered this Krishnadas from the clutches of the Bhattathari. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is well known as Patita Pavan, the savior of all fallen souls, and he proved this in his behavior toward his personal servant Krishnadas, whom he saved. Sometimes the word Bhattathari is misspelled in Bengal as Bhattamari. श्रीरंगपुरी सह ताहाई मिलन रामदास विप्रेर कोयलो दुख विमोचन. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then met Sri Rangapuri and mitigated all the sufferings of a Brahmana named Ramdas. I think this Ramdas Vipra what is his suffering? Because he was always in the mood of Hanuman. He was always very sad that how come Mother Sita was touched by Ravan. How come she was touched? I think that was the... And then later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually takes out a page from the Kurma Puran and shows that it's not that real Sita that he touched. He touched only Maya Sita, real Sita who he could not touch. Then next verse, and all these pastimes will be expanded upon later on. So I will not go into great detail here. तत्ववादी सह कइलो तत्वेर विचार आपना के हीन बुद्धि होइलो ता सबार. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had a discussion with the Tattvavadi community, and the Tattvavadis felt themselves to be inferior Vaishnavas. Purport. The Tattvavadi sect belongs to the Madhvacharya's Vaishnava community, but its behavior differs from the strict Madhvacharya Vaishnava principles. So this is how Sampradayas become, what is it called? Frayed. Frayed means they become, like a rope. Rope is made up of many small strands of thread. Because it's all united and they're braided together and the rope is formed. But then when you like kind of dishevel them, then they become like single strands again. So the whole parampara becomes disheveled like that, and then people become they introduce some concoctions, and eventually tangential paramparas become come into existence, and then eventually something totally different from the original strict parampara will become prominent. Like even our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what happened to our Sampradaya? People became very, fallen, and Vaishnava Sampradaya was seen as a beggar's, some debauchees religion. So bad name it had until Bhaktivinoda Thakur revived it again back to its strict principles. So Tattvavadi community, they are Madhvas, they call themselves Madhvacharya's descendants, but its behavior, as Prabhupada says here, differs from the strict Madhvacharya Vaishnava principles. There is one monastery named Uttararadhi, and one of its commanders was named Raghuvarya Tirtha Madhvacharya. Ananta Purushottama Sri Janardana Padmanabha Vasudeva Koilo Darshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited the Vishnu temples of Anantadev, Purushottam, Sri Janardhan, Padmanabha, and Vasudeva. A temple of Ananta Padmanabha Vishnu is situated in the Trivandrum district or Tiruvananthapuram. This temple is very famous in those quarters. Actually, even now, I mean, recently there were some doors that were opened in a cellar of the temple and then unimaginable amounts of gold. And because they're antique, they are priceless. There's no price tag you can attach to that. Because antique things, even ordinary things, will become very expensive, highly valued. But this is antique golden ornaments and golden stuff, not just gold bars, but antique golden things and also gold. So it is unimaginable value, infinite value. So, and people who try to steal this, they die. So, a temple of Ananta Padmanabha Vishnu is situated in the Trivandrum district or Thiruvananthapuram. This temple is very famous in those quarters. Another Vishnu temple named Sri Janardhan is situated about 26 miles north of the Trivandrum district near the railway station called Varkala. तबे प्रभु कोइलो सप्त ताल विमोचन सेतु बंधे स्नाने स्नान रामेश्वर दर्शन. After that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the celebrated Saptatala trees, took his bath at Setubandha Rameshwar, and visited the temple of Lord Shiva known as Rameshwar. Purport: it is said that the Saptatala trees were very old, massive palm trees. There was once a fight between Vali and his brother Sugriva, and Lord Ramachandra took the side of Sugriva and killed Vali, keeping himself behind one of those celebrated trees. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu toured South India, he embraced the trees which were delivered and directly promoted to Vaikuntha. That means how many millions of years those trees were standing there. He embraced them and sent them all to Vaikuntha. ताहाय करिल कूर्म पुराण श्रवण माया सीता निलेक रावण ताहा ते लिखन. See, at Rameshwar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a chance to read the Kurma Purana, in which he discovered that the form of Sita kidnapped by Ravana was not that of the real Sita but a mere shadow representation. I think, okay, this is all that is mentioned here. We'll go to those two verses which state that. The Kurma Puran states that this shadowy Sita was placed into a fire as a test of chastity. It was Maya Sita who entered the fire and the real Sita who came out of the fire. Of course, there is a Agni Pariksha that happened to Mother Sita to test her chastity, but she was chaste, but also the other aspect of that. You see how many things happen in one pastime like that. So Maya Sita went into the fire and real Sita came out. So, and now interestingly, these verses of the Kurma Purana are nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually I will go there. One second. Okay, so here, okay, this is Bengali. Where is the actual verse? Is it before this 200? Where are the two verses? Maybe later on, no? Oh no. Okay, I have to find this. How come I'm not able to find it? Maya Sita. Is it here? How come I'm unable to find it? Kurma. Oh, this is Kurma Puran. Please, okay. Okay, so finally we get it. 9.211 and 212. I should remember this. Okay, so here it is. सीतयाराधितो वह्निश्छाया सीताम् अजीजनत् तां जहार दशग्रीवः सीता वह्निपुरं गता परीक्षासमये वह्निं छाया सीता विवेश सा वह्निः सीतां समानीय तत्पुरस्तादनीनयत्. When he was petitioned by Mother Sita, the fire god Agni brought forth an illusory form of Sita, and Ravana, who had 10 heads, kidnapped the false Sita. The original Sita then went to the abode of the fire god. When Lord Ramachandra tested the body of Sita, it was the false, illusory Sita that entered the fire. At that time, the fire god brought the original Sita from his abode and delivered her to Lord Ramachandra. So, these two verses are taken from the Kurma Puran, finally. Okay, so if you go to 9203, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives an explanation. What? Where is the explanation? Come on. Okay, 9.200. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that only two khandas of the Kurma Puran are now available, namely the Purva Khanda and Uttara Khanda. Sometimes it is said that the Kurma Puran contains 6,000 verses, but according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the original Kurma Puran contains 17,000 verses. It is considered the 15th of the 18 Mahapuranas. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explains like this. So many verses are, lost. Maybe even in the burning of the Takshashila University and Nalanda University by the Mughals, a lot of these records were maybe destroyed also. But 500 years ago, they were still there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually took from there these verses from the Kurma Puran. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving an explanation on that. Bhagavatam says one thing, and then the available Kurma Puran is only 6,000 verses. 11,000 verses are lost. So, we'll go back to where we were reading from. Yeah. What is the time? Oh, 9:30. Okay. Maybe I'll just finish at this point. दुनिया प्रभुर आनंदित होइल मन रामदास विप्रेर कथा होइल स्मरण. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very glad to read about the false Sita, and he remembered his meeting with Ramdas Vipra, who was very sorry that Mother Sita had been kidnapped by Ravan. সেই পুরাতন পত্র আগ্রহ করে নিল রামদাসে দেখাইয়া দুঃখ রামদাসে দেখাইয়া দুঃখ খণ্ডাইল. Indeed, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eagerly tore this page from the Kurma Puran, although the book was very old, and he later showed it to Ramdas Vipra, whose unhappiness was mitigated. Okay, then Brahma. Brahma Samhita. So we will go to that next session. So I'll stop it here at 119. Stop. So any questions or comments, relevant questions or comments? So comment here. Prabhu, is it right if I encourage my friends to not write JEE, Joint Entrance Exam, for getting an IIT? Peer pressure is a very nice way to make my friends stop writing these exams and chant Hare Krishna instead. Now, we will encourage them to chant Hare Krishna and become devotees. And then, by their own accord, they will lose interest in this IIT or technology and stuff. Because we cannot give them instruction on just giving up IIT or whatever. They have to have sufficient understanding of spiritual knowledge to understand that this is not important. So we first give them the Krishna conscious knowledge, and eventually they will realize that this is all waste of time. So we should not create a vacuum. If we say that, okay, don't go to the IIT, but he's not even situated in devotional service, so what is going to do? So first, we don't disturb their whatever they're doing materially, but we encourage them to become Krishna conscious. And once they understand the importance of Krishna consciousness, then they will, if they are serious enough, then they will give up that. But even if he is still pursuing after Krishna consciousness, is not willing to be serious enough, then let him practice whatever he is practicing, and eventually, maybe in later stage of his life, he will realize that Krishna consciousness is most important. So, like that. Rupa Goswami gave us this principle: Tasmat kenapyupayana manah Krishna niveshayet. Sarva vidhi nishedhasur etayoreva kinkarah. That means somehow or other we have to get them attracted to Krishna, and other rules can be introduced later on, rules and regulations. So that should be our method of preaching. It said it's called Varaha Narasimha Temple in Simhachalam, Shigada Temple. So it's Simhachalam. Shubham Shukla is saying, if I am being handicapped and no family support, not able to take prasadam and not control my tongue. What should I do? Please help. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Okay. If I'm being handicapped and no family support, not able to take prasadam, so are you meaning handicapped in the literal sense of the term, or you feel you're handicapped because you don't have enough, support of the family in your Krishna consciousness? Is that what you mean? Because I want to know. Is it physical handicap? Is what you're talking about? No family support means, what do you mean? They are not supporting your Krishna conscious lifestyle, or is that what you mean? Not able to take prasadam and not control my tongue. What should I do? Bodily handicapped. Okay. So you are meaning bodily handicap. Okay. No family support means they're not supporting your Krishna conscious lifestyle, or they're not supporting you even in your bodily life, which is handicapped, and then they're not able to support you. What is that? Emotional support or physical support or both of them? I mean, it's a tough situation to be handicapped. So you're unable to cook yourself, is what you're saying, and you're forced to eat what your family prepares for you, and you want to be a devotee, and you're saying not control my tongue, not able to control my tongue means they are not devotees. Okay, so you're saying they're not devotees, and you're unable to control your tongue means you're not able to eat prasadam, is what you're saying. Ah, well, that's a tough situation. Well, I know one thing. I can say only one thing, which is which is कथञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यं नमामि तम्. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So, it's a difficult situation. We can only pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, and I don't know where you stay. If any devotees can bring you prasadam sometimes, at least you should eat vegetarian food. If not, and chant Hare Krishna, read Prabhupada's books, pray to Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna to help you come out of the situation. And Krishna has his ways, and he can do something. Maybe you can move to, I don't know, Pondicherry. We have a temple. You can travel there and live there in the community of devotees. It will be much easier. Maybe you can consider that. Transfer your situation to a place where devotees are there. In India, our main temple is there in Puducherry. So you can maybe try shifting there. Maybe you can contact the devotees there and see what you can do. That's one thing I can suggest. I think that will be very easy. I mean, life will be easy if you're there. Of course, you can engage in Krishna service whatever you can, and and then you can pass your life like that. So, see if you can do that. Contact our devotees and try to do that. Of course, for that you have to become seriously Krishna conscious, and you have to be used to temple life, um, waking up in the morning, and all these things have to be done. So those things are there. So that's some small price to pay to be in the association of devotees. So you can probably do that. So see if you can do that. Okay. You are chanting. Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhu, I'm following four regularity principles, chanting 16 rounds daily, hearing lectures for about 1 hour or more, and eating prasadam only. Very good. So now you should think about initiation. I mean, first of all, connect with someone. What is your real name actually? So you can connect with somebody of our devotees and the Telegram group we have. So likewise, you can become associated with our devotees more, participate in some service, some seva, maybe some social media video editing kind of seva, which helps the message to go out to more people. And if you can, move in with the association of devotees in a temple setting, like in Puducherry, if you're in India, then that is good. At least for holidays, maybe you can visit them for a start, and then eventually take it further from there. So increase your engagement and try to distribute books, eat prasadam. So that should be good if you can do all these things. Priyansh Das, you are connected with Prahlad Prabhu. That's good. That's good. So get good guidance like that. And you're saying still my mind is aggregated. It's not aggregated, agitated. How to protect my mind? Well, mind will be agitated. We have been agitated for trillions of years. So now only you're still baby in Krishna consciousness. So when a baby starts to walk, he will fall down many times. So that's part of it. Baby starts, it doesn't get depressed and say, "Oh, I'm unable to walk. What should I do?" No, you just keep on trying, and eventually you will be walk, run, jump, and fly. So similarly, we have to um, persist on our Krishna conscious practice. Keep reading Prabhupada's books every day. Chant Hare Krishna. Engage in as much service as possible, and get closer association of devotees whenever possible. Maybe in your holidays, if you're a student, maybe in your holidays you visit the temple and spend some time there for your summer camp. Then eventually move into the temple, become full time in this way. So eventually your mind will be more and more controlled. I mean, nobody is controlled in this world. Everybody's mind is agitated. It's just we use Krishna consciousness to eventually. Prabhupada said, yeah, there will be a struggle, but eventually Krishna is stronger, and the more we hold on to Krishna, we'll be able to cross over this. That's it. That's only persistence. It's not that there was one boy came here, Chinese boy, and he said, I want to control my mind. And he said we should become humble. That's how we control. Okay, how to become humble? And one devotee told him, Subala Prabhu, I think. So he told him, okay, the first thing that Prabhupada or Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked a newcomer is to wash the pots in the temple, in the kitchen. You wash the pots, and that's the beginning of humility by taking up a menial service. So please go and wash pots. Okay, I'll do it. Then he washed for 2 hours. After that, he's saying, I'm still not experiencing Krishna yet. 2 hours I have washed pots. Where is Krishna? Where is the spiritual, that enlightenment? Arey yaar, 2 hours. How many? I don't know. 20 trillion. I don't know how many trillion years we have been here. Not 20 trillion. It's very less. 155 trillion, 311 trillion years is one universe. And how many universes we have? How many creations we have spent in this material world? Anadi karma phala. And 2 hours you want to like. Of course, Prabhupada said 1 minute is enough. Well, 100% surrender. Surrender means not expecting anything from Krishna also. Not that Krishna, you should show me something after 2 hours. That's not full surrender. And that's why Rupa Goswami says in Upadeshamrita, Utsahan Nischayat Dhairyat. You have to be Utsahan, enthusiastic. And Nischayat, determined. Determination comes with what? You have to be, the same enthusiasm must sustain for many years, decades, lifetimes even. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakti rahaitu ki tvayi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us that we have to be patient for millions of lifetimes, even if Krishna wants us to. That is determination, never letting it go, and patience. Patience to execute. Patience means over time. We cannot be patient for 2 hours. Patience means, by definition, it's over enormous periods of time. So that is what patience is. That is what surrender is. So utsahan nischa dhairya. Yes, you have to be you have to be enthusiastic, but also then you have to be determined and you have to be patient. There will be many reversals. You have to be patient, tolerance. So these things. But eventually Krishna consciousness will win. Vishnu is asking, Prabhu, how do I manage Krishna consciousness as working professional? How to deal with non-devotees association at work? So that's again a tough situation. But if you can start off your day with Krishna consciousness, Brahma Muhurta, wake up at Brahma Muhurta, about let's say 1.5 hours before sunrise. I mean 1.5 hours before sunrise, you have to have already Mangalarti going on. So about 2 hours, 2.5 hours before sunrise, you wake up and then execute your morning duties of Mangalarti, chanting, japa, and reading Prabhupada's books. If you can attend class, that's good, but if there's no class, read Prabhupada's books or listen to a Prabhupada lecture. And that's how you start your day, and then you go to work. Even while commuting, you can maybe, listen to a lecture. And then once you go there, then you have to work. And if you can, you preach to someone there. If not, just, superficial talk with them, work related, and that's it. And then once you finish your work timings, and then on your way back, you can read some book or chant your remaining rounds. Lunch, of course, you can eat prasadam if you have cooked at your home and came, packed it up in a different box or something like that. And then evening, go back home, again attend a lecture or read Prabhupada's books, study. In this way, keep yourself as much as possible in Krishna consciousness. Non-devotee association at work, that's why it's very, very, very contaminating. Therefore, you have to preach. When you preach, two things happen. They are being helped, but you are also being helped. You know how? Because if you don't preach, then, for example, they are going on going to a restaurant to eat, and they say, hey, come, we have a birthday party today. So and so is cutting a cake. You also should have it, and we are all co-workers. We should be friendly. Now, if you don't preach, then they will not know what your limits are, what your boundaries are. But if you preach that you should eat Krishna Prasadam, we only eat Krishna Prasadam because of this, because it is purified foodstuff, otherwise we're eating only sin. So if you preach these things, then they already are primed in their heads. They understand that you will not eat this egg and all this, the cake and not prasadam, you will not eat it. And they will not even invite you. So that's a protection for you. You don't have to every time tell them. You can tell them, even if they invite you, you can tell them, sorry, I cannot eat because, there are eggs there, If it's a prasadam, feast or some prasadam cake or something, yeah, I will come and. So it's Krishna prasadam. If you want, I can ask the temple to cook a feast for you. We can have that. That I can come. Or I can cook some feast for you all and we can eat all of that. So something like that. But I cannot come, an outside restaurant. My vows, I cannot. You're not supposed to eat that. So like that you can say, and then they will eventually understand. And then they will also not push you into things which they know you will not participate in. And if fortunate, some of them will actually adopt your lifestyle as well. That will be the added bonus. But even if they do not do it, you will be helped when you preach. Because you are letting them know your boundary. If you don't let them know your boundaries, they will impose their ideas on you, thinking that it's all okay. You don't have a boundary, you're just a sponge for anything that comes, you will just absorb everything. But if you let them know your boundaries, if you communicate it to them, then they know how much and how to deal with you. So you have to let them know also your boundaries. Otherwise, I cannot offend them. At the same time, I cannot go there. You cannot stay in that perpetual battle in your head. then you have to face every single time. You have to find some excuse to run away from, oh, I have something on, I have something. You can't say that every time. Maybe if it's a one-off thing, then you can say something, some alibi you can give. But what are you going to say to a person whom you are working with every single day, and they invite you here and say this and that, and they will talk some garbage, some about women or money or this thing. If they know you're a devotee, they will not even talk to you those things. Oh, he's a sadhu, yaar, don't talk about these things to him. Don't talk about women and all this. He's a sadhu, he will not. He will not be interested, and it's not good to. They also have some inherent respect that this person is religious. We should stay a little more mannerly in front of him. We should not talk the kind of thing. So these are all protection for us. So we have to, and you put on your tilak and go. I don't think they will say anything in India. That's your religious identity. Why you should shy away from it? Like the hijab, they make a big deal out of hijab, right? So they fight for their rights to wear hijab. So why we should not make a big deal out of our religion? So put on the tilak, put on the kantimala, don't hide your thing, and then they will know. Okay, he's a. And then they see you like that, they all automatically don't want to talk nonsense with you or anything like that. So either they talk to you about Krishna consciousness or they don't talk to you. So we have to mold our association like that by preaching. Preaching helps not only the other person but me in many ways. Protects me. Because as I'm preaching, whatever I'm saying, I'm also hearing what I'm saying. So that will, kind of feedback for me also. And I listen to what I'm saying. And I should also think on engaging my life in that manner. That person will be helped. If he can take to it, even better. But if not, he at least knows my boundaries. And sometimes, you have to lie here and there. That is also there. And, wiggle yourself out of those situations and stay yourself safe. So that is also there. But I think if you communicate your boundaries, it will be easier. How should I remain enthusiastic? Because while preaching to locals, sometimes I become demotivated. So read Prabhupada's books, and you see, when the iron rod, when it is put into fire, it becomes red hot. And once you take it out of the fire, it is still red hot. And you can touch everything and everything starts burning until a certain point. After that, the rod will not burn anything because it will become cooling. It will become cool down. So after that, how to make it again fire, again put in the fire. So when we go out to the material world, we are cooled down. Our fire of Krishna consciousness is again cooled down. So we can preach to some extent. After that, we again become demotivated and something like that. So again, we have to put ourselves back into the fire of Krishna consciousness, which is hearing Prabhupada, reading the books, and also another good exercise for devotees is to write articles. Read Prabhupada's books, and from that, take your understanding and write an article. Don't speculate and write something totally out of the league. What we have learned from Shastra, any insights, any realizations you get from reading what you have read from Prabhupada's books, sometimes you feel about something, or there is something that happened in the world, some news thing, and you have if only people knew this thing about our Krishna conscious philosophy, you will sometimes think, oh, people do not know and therefore they are like this. So make that into an article, articulate it, like what is exactly wrong, what will actually help. Make articles. So what happens with that is you are forced to again think about all that you have read and put it. So when you're demotivated, write articles and have a blog or your social media or something. Write short articles or something like that. In that way, engage yourself, and help the devotees in some other seva, something like that. So reading, writing, these will again make rekindle the fire of Krishna consciousness, and again we can keep our. Why do we do this morning program every day? Because, and what is this demotivation? Demotivation is basically the mode of ignorance taking over our existence. So we have to again associate with mode of goodness or transcendental goodness, Shuddha Sattva. That's when again we become surcharged, recharged. and again we will be able to handle the modes for a while. After that, again the modes become overpowering, and again this is the struggle. So when we have to engage with people and preach, we have to give our association, not take their association. Yeah, it can be sometimes demotivating because not many people will take, but never mind. I will try my best. Prabhupada, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please bless me that I can help a few souls today, and I go out distribute books and then take their numbers and connect with them and kind of try to guide them if I can. Likewise. So in this way, I have to get more and more engaged. Then eventually, we become demotivated because we want a result. So Krishna says, "Do the duty, but don't worry about the result. You have to do our duty for Krishna, and then you will be more happy just doing the duty and not worrying so much about the result. Of course, we want the result. We want more devotees to join, but it'll take time. All this is patience because some things we also have to learn. Although we have a good intention of preaching, sometimes maybe we can learn some things more. And eventually, by doing that, Krishna also dadame buddhiyogamtam, he will give us intelligence from inside, from within. And then we associate with devotees even online, maybe. And that way, eventually, we will grow. That's how everybody grows. And yes, working devotees should donate part of the salary to the temple for purification. Absolutely. So that's another aspect. Whatever we earn, we have to contribute to the temple. The standard is 50% of our income. But if you're not that surrendered yet, do something. Start somewhere where you start your surrender first and then increase over time as much as your realization increases. And eventually, why 50%? You will join full time, 100%, depending on your situation. Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, I'm wearing tilak to work sometimes, but then how do I start to preach to non devotees? I feel that I'm not strong enough. I want to preach. Okay, that's good. Not sometimes, you wear all the time, put on tilak all the time. And how do I preach? Well, always carry some books with you. And you see what topic they're talking, and then if you can mold the topic into Krishna consciousness, then you can give them a book. Don't give them, make them pay for it. You say this is from the temple, so I bought from the temple to distribute, and you can help me just recover my costs, and you can take this book and start reading. It will really help you. Distribute the books. Let the book do the talking then. I may not be very advanced, but the book Prabhupada is very advanced, right? So he will preach. And then eventually you can have conversations based on the book, what he read and what he thought about it. And you can ask him, how do you think? What do you read? Did you read? Did you manage to read it? A week later, you can ask him. In that way, conversations can start. That's how preaching, you can do the preaching. All right, so I'll stop it here. जय श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, साई गौर प्रेमानंद, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा।